I wanted to make a short video about something that's quite important, especially when working on mineral sites, and that's coil size selection. We all know the conventional wisdom about using a smaller coil in heavy iron, heavy nails, dense targets, modern trash in a park, and using a larger coil for more open areas where the targets aren't near as close together to get more depth, and also on less mineralized sites. And that's all still valid to a certain point. But when you go to a simultaneous multi-frequency detector like the Legend and so many others that are on the market today, those rules get bent a little bit. They don't apply quite as strictly as they once did. And the reason is the simultaneous multi-frequency on these modern high-performance detectors handles the soil so much better than the old single-frequency detectors could. As far as target density, working in trash, whether it's nails or modern aluminum, the smaller coil will still get between the targets better. That's just physical size. Masking is different than separation. Masking is when the two targets blend together and the detector is able to differentiate enough to let you know that there's something more than a nail there, or there's something more than a pull tab there. Separation is just that, being able to click on each individual target separately. But what I wanted to talk about today is working in mineralized soil. So I've worked on some of my sites. It's gotten dry and hot here, so I haven't been out a lot, but it's not too bad in the test garden, in the shade. What I've noticed is that in the minerals, you don't necessarily have to go to a smaller coil to keep from getting mineral blowback. The bigger coils do just fine up until the very top end of sensitivity. I've got the LG 30 on there now and the LG 24 on the other machine, but this also holds true to the LG 35 that I have, and even the big nail 15-inch attack coil that I ordered and have been using. You can use that big 15-inch coil, you can use that 13.5-inch LG 35 in the minerals with close to maximum sensitivity if the other conditions allow, and not suffer from mineral blowback enough to impact anything at all. What the difference is the smaller coil loses its mineral punch in the iron, red dirt minerals that I have. It may be different on different kinds of minerals, but for me, the smaller coil is severely depth limited in the minerals. Using the classic modes, I'm working with DT. You can run in the new Beast mode, which is a motion-based all-metal mode, and the small coil will get the punch. But that mode's not for everybody or every site. So, just to show, let's take the Legend with the LG 30. Running 1.15. I'm in field mode, M1. Crank sensitivity up. Do a noise cancel. My air conditioner just kicked on, it's running. 24 sensitivity is where we'll start. Let's get a good ground balance. $31. Okay, I've got it in all A discrimination, so everything's accepted, including the ground. 24 sensitivity. Check my volume. Let's see if we get any blowback. No. Kick the sensitivity all the way up to 30. Just a teeny bit. Not enough to really bother with, but the EMI is not going to let me run it on 30, so we'll kick it back down to 20, 26. That's pretty good. Alright, I'm going to put it on ground. I've got recovery on 4, iron filter 3, I dropped that to 2, stability 1, 0 bottle cap, 0 ground suppressor, DT at 6 just because. 4 is fine. I found that DT, even if you just have it on 1, it makes a huge difference. The higher you run it up, the more it distorts the sound, but you can get by quite well on low numbers. So the 6-inch brass cuff button, that's a tough one. ID's no good. 6-inch US copper cent. Good. But there again, the ID's no good. 60, that's really a ground number. That's wrapped around from 1 and 2. US 5-cent nickel. Good ID. Good tone. 8-inch US clad quarter. Decent ID. Brass clock gear at 8 inches, which is a relatively large target, so it's easy. And good ID. The 50 caliber lead Mineralized at 10 inches, relatively hard target. But it touches it. Alright, we'll use the same settings with the LG24. Version 1.15. Noise cancel it. We're still in field M1. Keep everything the same. .26 sensitivity. 4 reaction recovery. Iron filter 2. Stability 1. 0 body cap, 0 ground, and 6 deep target. Your ground balance. This dirt is dry now, so it's 2 to 3 bars on the mineral scale of the Legend. When it's damper, it's 3 to 4. So not horrible, but bad enough for me, and typical of what I've got around here. So with the LG24, same coil, same settings, just barely catches it. Nothing that way really, just barely catches it. Probably wouldn't stop for that. US 1 cent at 6 inches. There again, barely catching it, just a pop. The nickel at 8 inches, which is easier because it's larger. But there again, there's a teeny bit there. There's just, the small coil does not have the mineral punch the bigger coil has. I think it will get the clock frame alright. Yeah. And decent ID. So on the larger targets, it'll go on down a little ways. The Minier, nothing. Even if we raise the sensitivity up all the way to max, audio gains 3. It's kind of sparky. Drop that down to 1. Calm it down a little. But even with the maximum sensitivity, it doesn't really improve it enough at all to be helpful. So the point being is that on the small coil, you can't expect it to punch the mineral like the larger coil. You have to make the choice when working in minerals based on target density and depth that you're hoping to get to. So let's look at the LG24 in beast mode. It actually will punch down pretty darn good on beast mode. Recovery 2, iron reject 3. I really wish Mota would take the 1 through 6 or 1 through 5 iron reject and extend that scale, say to 10. That way we can have the equivalent of half points. Because 2's not quite enough, and 3 is really a little bit too much on a lot of targets, even shallower nails. Audio gain 6. Audio gain makes a huge difference on beast mode. You can run the sensitivity pretty low. There's 24 with audio gain 6. So let's get a good ground balance and play with it. You have to ground balance beast mode. Every time you turn it on, it goes back to 0. It takes a little bit longer to ground balance. So the 6-inch brass cuff button, the ID's just a 1. There's a 55, but that's not helpful either. The 6-inch copper cent. You can hear just a little bit of the iron tone creeping in. That's why I think we need half points on the iron reject scale. 8-inch nickel. You get more iron tone on that nickel because it's a lower conductor than you do on a higher conductor. That's an 8-inch nickel. Here's an 8-inch clad quarter, so a high conductor. You don't get quite as much iron tone. The clock frame at 8 inches. Big target. Get some ID off of that one. But a quarter, which is slightly smaller, no ID. Just have to go by tone. The 50 caliber Minier at 10 inches. Good audio, but there again, with one on the ID. And here's about a 3-inch nail. The iron tone is much deeper than what you're getting like off this nickel. So that's a tonal nuance that you're going to have to get used to. So it's good to know these things. You've got an excellent coil choice from Nokta for the Legend. And there's starting to be some aftermarket coils. This Nail Attack 15-inch coil that I ordered straight from Nail. It's a great coil. It hasn't been tuned by Nokta specs according to D-Lick. So it could probably be a little better. It's not really much deeper than the LG35 that I have, but it does give you a little better coverage. It's quite lightweight. I'm pleased with it. So you have to know all the little pieces and how they affect things. The coil choice is important, not only in target density, but also in how much punch you want. It's the same thing on milder dirt, except the minerals attenuate the signal a lot faster, a whole lot faster. I can take the LG24 coil and hit 8-inch targets with the deep target mode on or off, really. But in the minerals, it's struggling past 5 to 6 inches. 5 inches, I've got a 5-inch dime there, it hits it just fine. But a 6-inch nickel, a 6-inch cent, which is actually a little larger coin, it struggles enough to where you wouldn't even dig it. So, just something I've observed, something else to be mindful, another piece of the puzzle, another little key to unlock some stats for me. Hope this proves helpful. Thank you for watching.